Okay. Alright, to get my muffin pan ready, you could use spray or take a stick of butter. I'm going to use this corn oil. Just put a drop in or two in one of the tins, and I'll use a brush. And I only want to grease the bottom. Yeah. Same thing when you're making cakes. Grease only the bottom of the cake pan. Why? What are we going to do with this? Here we go. You want the batter to grab onto the side of the pan, and that'll help contribute to a higher volume. And besides, you'll take a little knife and you'll be going around the edge. So you're greasing the bottom mainly so that it'll separate when it's done. Okay? All right. Muffins are actually, muffin refers to the method of bread making. It's a quick bread. And the method is that you get your liquids together and then you get your dry mix together and then you combine the two and then you gently stir. And I'll talk about that more in a minute. Okay? So, yeah. Oh, yeah. And drink you some coffee while you're doing this. Okay. Um, got my baking powder and my flour. Okay. You don't need as much flour as you might think you do when you're making muffins. So I probably end up using all of this, but okay. Now, this is a mixture of bread, flour, and all-purpose flour. And in case you put your flour in your canister and you've forgotten what it is, just stick your finger in there and give it a taste. You get used to it after you do that many times. It's not that gross. But anyway, if it's got a salty taste to it, then it's self-rising. It's got baking powder and salt already mixed, and it was taken care of when they milled the flour. Okay, baking powder. Well, if you use too much, you'll know it in the final product. You'll taste it, or I can. Anyway, I figure about a teaspoon and a half per cup of flour, and I've got not quite. I got about 2 cups of flour. Yeah. So that's about the ratio that I use. I can eyeball it. But like I said, you'll get, when you do it enough, you'll get where you kind of know. And yeah, you know, if you're making something for the very first time, I've always taught my students follow the recipe exactly the first time. And by the way, if you like having cookbooks or printing up recipes that you get from the internet, buy you a cookbook that you're not afraid to write in. You know, get you a red pencil, a red pen, and some highlighters, and make notes in your cookbook. You know, you follow the recipe exactly the first time, but if it's something that turns out too dry, well, make a note. It turned out it was too dry, or if it was too salty, or too something else, or not enough. Make a few notes in there, and then make gradual changes when you make it again, and then make your notes, and then until you get it exactly the way you like it. Uh, I don't buy cookbooks anymore. I used to read cookbooks like novels. I actually read them from cover to cover. Now, I haven't read The Joy of Cooking from cover to cover, but I do have a copy of it. Not here, though. I left it in the USA. But I did enjoy reading parts of it. There's plenty to read. Julia Child, In Julia's Kitchen, it's a rather unique kind of cookbook. It kind of reads like a book of short stories. And then there's somebody Fisher, The Art of Eating, I think is the name of the book. Yeah, read about food. Find you some interesting cookbooks that you'll spend some time reading. Uh, I recommend the Bread Maker's uh, Bread Making Cookbook. Now, it's basically the motive behind that cookbook is to sell you to the bread machine, but you don't have to buy the bread machine. It's still interesting reading. So, yeah, when you're looking through cookbooks, buy something that you'll read and increase your yeah. So, but anyway, that's what I do. But I've gotten to where I don't read cookbooks. I don't buy them anymore. And occasionally I'll look up a recipe on the internet and look at it and read it and kind of go through it. And, oh, okay, all right. I get the idea. Okay, all right. Back in just a second. Yeah, I'll let these cool for a bit, and then I want to let the pan cool off before I put any more batter in it. What do you think? Does it look good? Yeah. I can only do 6 at a time in this oven, so all right. Catch you in a minute. Yeah, I took them out and I've got them cooling off upside down because usually the top part is baked very sturdy and this is still kind of soft, nice and spongy like. Yeah. So, yeah, it'd be really good to go ahead and eat it hot. Put some butter on it or just eat it like it is and then decide, what to put on it. Honey or molasses, sorghum syrup. Yeah, and I'm predicting that the carrots will have softened up while in the oven and maybe not too much, and it would give it kind of a nutty texture to go along with the almonds. And the raisins are chopped up to kind of add their own little texture and sweetness to the muffin. But dang, I wish I'd have had just a little bit of cinnamon, just a little bit, maybe a touch of nutmeg, something like that. Uh, Maybe a drop or two of vanilla, but yeah, it's basically a no-nonsense muffin that I've got here. Yeah, yeah, oh man, yeah. But I gotta wait till this pan cools off before I put any more. And then, oh, I wanted to throw this in that bread sponge I got going. You see, it's getting all bubbly. Yeah, and I'll just continue to stir and stir and stir. That won't hurt a thing. Just stir it, and stir it, and stir it, and stir it, and stir it. And I'll probably end up putting it in a larger bowl, so that while I'm out getting groceries, it won't bubble over.